Welcome to Apache Karaf Essentials. I'm Jamie Goodyear. Have you ever wanted to make your own console command for Apache Karaf? In this video, we'll show you how. Up next. Okay, let's dig into this. When you first start up Apache Karaf, you're going to be brought to the console. On that console, you can interact with the running Karaf instance. It's basically like a command line terminal, but to your running JVM. You can install bundles, uninstall bundles, do all the lifecycle control. You can find out statistics, you can go into logging, all sorts of things. But have you ever wondered, how do I actually create commands so I can interact with my own applications? Well, we're going to take a look at this, and we're going to do it in the context first from our ongoing series on the AI API gateway that we've had in our last couple of videos. In that project, what we were doing was setting up a RESTful service layer, and the in-between layer was all of our business logic for how we want to talk to various AI agents. Now, here's where the fun part comes for us. We created an AI command, and that AI command could plug into our running service and issue requests. Very similar to how we would use, say, curl or a web browser, some of our client, to talk to our top layer REST service. This one talks directly to the running backend. This is kind of a benefit to us because that means we don't have to go to various other clients to work from. We can just be right on the Karaf console and start interacting with our service. In our case, you can see here in blue the command AI ask, where we'd say, hey, I want to ask a particular AI, and we're doing this by plugin name, it could have been Llama or local AI, and pass in some prompt, just a string that we would want it to react to. And this is kind of cool because here I can update my backend code, update my plugin code, and immediately start asking questions to it and seeing how it works. Pretty cool. So what I want to do now is dig into the code of our AI example. And after we dig into that code, I also want to bring up the Apache Karaf archetype for making your own commands. This is a neat little Maven plugin that allows us to generate a command project for you so you can immediately start implementing your own commands in your own project. So let's get into our IDE and take a look at the code. To begin, we have opened up our project repository. Take a look at the show notes below for a link to our Git to be able to pull the code and you can follow along. We have a module that is specifically put together just for our custom command. That is the command that we could use to say AI ask plugin name and then some prompt. We set this up as a standard bundle, so we'll take a look at the project POM. And when we take a look inside of it, we'll see that the packaging is of the type bundle. We have a couple of interesting dependencies that we've put in here, and this is partially one of the ways that I like to personally assemble these custom commands. When we take a look at what the archetype command builds out for you as a generated project, it's slightly different, and I'm going to show you really why I pulled this part into my own project. I like to include what's called the Karaf BOM. That's our bill of materials. We use this as a way to be able to tell our project to pull the appropriate versions of all of our dependencies into the project. So it's just a shorthand to be able to grab that. We are going to need the Karaf shell core. That is the part of Karaf that's going to allow us to implement all of these actions. Actions are the commands that we are implementing. And in our case, we are going to also pull in the application API from our API gateway. Reason for this is that we're going to be able to get a reference to that API from our running services, and it will then wire us underneath the hood to the running implementation. We use two plugins. One is the Karaf Services plugin. I use this one to help just enhance the output of what we get from our builds. You do not necessarily have to use it. I just tend to have that one in my command build projects. And then we use the Maven Bundle plugin, just like all of our other regular bundles, to build this out. Specifically to this one, I have included a bunch of import packages just to make things very clear where we are getting things. So when we wire this up and run the command, you can see what's being taken from the running container. And this line here, the Karaf command, this is effectively the one piece you do have to include here when we're doing out our bundle. This is going to give us the header to say, hey, this is where our bundle lives, and that actually implements our action. So that's a necessity. You have to put that in there. Let's take a look at the actual command code. So we call ours the AI command. And inside this code, what we're going to find in here is that we have implemented the SPI, the API of our action. The action is your command in the Karaf console. We use SCR as our programming model style for building out these commands. So we're going to have a bunch of annotations here that may be brand new to you. The first one is service. We use the service annotation here to tell the system that this is going to be brought in as a service available in the container for the runtime wiring. It is of a type is command, and this command annotation, what this is going to do is tell the console what it's scoped as, what its name is, and we can also send in here a description. So when we had the name AI:ask, this was saying we're in the scope of AI, and this particular command is the ask command. You can imagine that you might have a couple of different things here. It could be like AI clear or AI ask, AI do something else. This is our ability to give that verb of what we want it to do. And then the description, of course, is some nice human readable description to explain what this command is doing. So when you're on the console and you're not familiar, you know what is going on in here. Now, a couple of pieces in here, the reference annotation. This is our way to reach out to the system, say, I want to get a reference to this particular API. I need the system to then give me the implementation runtime for me to actually use. So I'm going to say, I want the AI resource, and it's going to get me the AI resource impl. That's how we wire that in. In our command, we are using a pair of arguments. You could have something here called an option, and we'll show you that a little bit later. Arguments are going to be set up by index. So it's going to say, hey, I expect this argument first, next argument second, etc. You can give them a name. In my case, I called them the plugin. So that's the plugin name that we want to put on the console. And then the question, the prompt that we're going to send to that particular plugin. When we execute the command, those particular arguments will be populated. So the plugin and question gets passed in. So in our implementation, we are going to be building what's called an AI request. That's our encapsulation of what our plugin is and what our prompt will be. You'll notice that there's a set ID. The reason I have that in there is a little bit around traceability. You can imagine in larger systems, you're going to want to have a trace ID that you can follow around a bunch of systems. And if you're doing aggregated calls to a backend, you'd want to have something to allow you to do that tracing amongst all of those calls. We then ask the AI resource to generate based on that request. We get back a response, and we just print that out to the console screen. Relatively simple implementation, but effective for being able to show the response we get back from our AIs. So that is the essential pieces of how we actually can build these commands. We build this up as a regular bundle and then just deploy it like we would deploy any other bundle into your system. In fact, if we go to our features file, we just list this out as the command bundle. And here it is at the bottom right here, the application command. And it just gets put into the system like anything else would be put into our running project. Okay, now with all of this said, let's start into how you'd use an Apache Karaf archetype to be able to build out your own commands. To build our own command, we're going to start by opening up a terminal, and we're going to put in the Maven archetype to generate our Karaf command. On the screen, I've already pre-populated this one. Again, on our show notes, we're going to put a link to the Karaf documentation for this particular plugin so you can read deeper in there. This particular one, we're going to set it up to use our version of Karaf. We're going to use 4.4.6 because I already have a running Karaf instance on the next terminal that we're going to be able to use to just deploy this directly and start testing it. We're going to set up a group ID under com/savortech. We're going to call our command demo command, and it's going to start off with a 1.0 snapshot version, and the package name will be com/savortech. So when we start executing this, it's going to ask us for our scope. I'm just going to call it my scope, and we'll call it my command. And our description is going to be, this is our test demo command. And we'll let this build out. So what we'll find here is that it has created our demo command project. Let's take a quick look inside of our POM file. It's going to create one and gives you the standard Apache license at the top of your file. We'll notice that it is a bundle. And inside of it, it is going to have our dependency on shell core and OSGI core. And we will also see our Maven compilers set up. That's just a standard one it likes to use. And the Maven bundle plugin with very basic imports that's been put in here. You'll also notice that the Karaf Commands has just been set up at the most base level, but is still present in here. Now let's take a look inside of the code that it generated. We will see inside the Java code that it has created a my command Java. Let's take a look and see what's inside of here. It has our command scope for my scope, my command, and our description. It has the annotation for service, and it has two additional annotations. So the first one here, this is the new one for us, the option annotation. What this one will do is allow you to put in a optional flag that you want to include. In our case, it's going to be -O, and then we can put in some value. So if you want to have a command that's going to be like, here's my plugin name, and here's my prompt, and I'm going to give it a -V for I want verbose or something like that to come through. That is how you would implement that kind of a command flag. We have a standard argument in here with a name, and then the print inside of the execute is going to show what it captured for your option and what your argument is, so you can experiment and play around with this code. So let's take a look at this code running in a real Karaf. But first, we have to build up the jar. And now we can start up our local Karaf and we can install our command. So we just started this Karaf. We have nothing inside of it. Let's do the install command. So we're going to put in the Maven coordinates. So com savoir tech, and this is called our demo command. And you can see we have our bundle ID 56. We do our quick listing. We are going to do a resolve, and we're doing the resolve just because I want to show you some more of the commands running on the console, and then a start of 56. Let us use our custom command. So we start off with my scope, and you can already see it has tab completion in there to show us how the command will work. We're going to use the -O for the option, and I'm going to just put the word our option in place and hello. And when we execute this, what we're going to see is that it saw our usage of the flag and took the next word, this next string, as being our option, and then picked up the argument of hello. If I did not pass in the -O and just pass in the word hello, we'll see that the option value is null. Pretty cool. And if we were to do this with, say, -option, so -O and then our option, but no argument, what we'll see is that the argument had been null. Pretty cool. So now you know how to make your own Apache Karaf command and deploy it directly into your Karaf console. It's pretty neat. And now we've completed our deep dive in how you make your own custom Apache Karaf console commands. This also completes our trilogy on how our API gateway to AI services works. If you missed the first two videos, we have them on our YouTube channel. Look for the API gateway video or the whiteboard pattern video for how we built our plugins. We also have all of our other Karaf and OSGI videos on our Apache Karaf Essentials playlist. I want to thank you so much for watching our video. Please remember to like and subscribe and hit the bell for your notifications. Thank you so much again. Have a great day. Cheers.